Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I present Jim Vandenboom.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming out for this beautiful Earth Day celebration. You're in for a big treat. This is the 7th year that I've done this project that I call Poems from the Tree. I now have 140 poems from 3rd graders from Kent here in Ohio, and part of the reason I did this was to highlight 2 organizations here in town that have been promoting the arts through teaching and in many different forms, and that's Standing Rock Cultural Arts, who puts on 7 yearly shows right here on this stage and brings thousands of people to come down to downtown Kent right here in our own city. And also the Wick Poetry Center, of which today we are graced with the director, David Hassler, who's going to be reading his poem, along with his daughter is going to be joining us as well. Mage Reagan is here with us too to read a poem. Mage is pretty much the main poetry guy here in town. He's been doing open poetry readings for 20 years. And David at the Wick Poetry Center enriches hundreds of people every year of every walk of life, and are just doing wonderful things in promoting creative thinking in this town. And that's what it's about, the creative thinking and the new ideas, the self-discovery that happens through the arts. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mage Reagan and Dave Hassler, and David will be emceeing the poems reading for us today. So here, I'll give it off to Mage.
Thank you. Well, it's a great pleasure to be back. The trees keep growing, the children keep coming, and the poems keep coming. And after a long winter, I think of the poetry as the many voices of this community. It's good to see you here today. It's good to read with the children. I was one of those ones. Thanking the Oak Heart. My friend John Randall built me a dinner table, a 3-inch slab, Hiram century oak, steadied by 4 legs, cut from a barn beam. A cross-section of its seasons is chainsawed, open ring by ring, the narrow band of drought, the wide pulse of a green year. Across the table, a dark crack tracks the world, that nebula held by its own center. The table itself is the size of a monk's snow shield, a knight's sled, a child's coffin, a skateboard, or a big budded Buddha. When the waters receded so long ago, after the valleys were gouged from rock, the leviathans, great legless beasts, found themselves wallowing in the ebb tide in the last sounding. They staggered upright, bone trunk hair reaching through the new earth, holding scale drying into bark. I take my supper tonight sitting on the floor. The table is level with my heart. I make a small blessing on it with my knuckles. Old oak heart, dark with deep, we sit down with you.
I'm really happy to be back here every year and thank Jim Vandenboom for doing this tree poem celebration in the Standing Rock Cultural Arts Center. I ran across this beautiful quote from Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching, and it says, "Whatever is deeply rooted is easily nourished." I'm going to read a poem called The Willows of Ginza. I had to travel halfway around the world to Japan in my mid-20s to begin to realize how deeply rooted I am here in Kent, Ohio, and I've had the blessing of living and working here in my hometown, raising my children, being close to Maj Reagan, and so many others here in Kent that live creativity, poetry, painters, dancers, singers. This poem is called The Willows of Ginza. The willows of Ginza that ran along the Sumida River are gone, cleared for wider roads, replaced by the smaller ginkgo. Between shorn concrete banks, I see a boat coming downstream in evening, strung with lanterns, shadows hopping in the yellow light of paper screens, the rhythm of drum and wail of samisen strings, a low chant calling across the water. Once I heard my mother weep. I was standing in our yard, holding a branch of willow. Its little buds would not twist off easily in my hands. When I heard her cry, a sound I'd never heard before, all was silent as I listened, with oak, the buckeye, and maple. I am there in the yard, planted deep for my mother. I have not gone anywhere. Okay. This kid might. I'm gonna hold it for them, I think. We'll try this out. We'll use this mic for the children, and I'll call their names in the order that they appear in this beautiful chapbook. Will Mahan.
Trees, they can have leaves as big as an elephant. Trees, they are the world's air cleaner. Trees, some are smooth, others are rough. They can smell tangy or sweet. The maple tree, tall and strong, is home to animals big and small. In December, the leaves crackle under my boots. In July, the trees look like a green temple.
Nice. Thank you, Will. Can you all hear? Mary Klein.
Trees. It must be so loud when everyone is living in you. Just when you get warm, the wind picks up and leaves swoop up and fly off to take a journey. I worry about you, but tree, you sway and growl in the middle of the night and I wake up. You explode in spring with flashing color. In the summer it is hot and you're dried up, just waiting for rain, because you are so thirsty. You made it a long way, tree. I don't know how you did it.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Aziza. Okay. May I read Aziza's poem? Can I read your poem for you? Okay. This is Aziza's poem. A tree. What is a tree? A tree can be so many things. An oak tree is a hotel for squirrels. A cherry blossom is a ballerina attractive to bees. An apple tree is a producer. In winter, trees get opportunity cost. They shed their leaves to get a coat of snow. Trees are also the toasty firewood in your home. In spring, trees are the hospital for newborns. That's why they sway a lullaby, wear happy colors, and bloom beautiful cherry blossoms. In summer, trees usually find kites in their branches. Woodpeckers tease them, and cats climb away from dogs. Some trees turn into pencils. In fall, trees shave a bit. They are more into fire colors, red, orange, yellow, gold. Trees dance in the wind, getting heated up for winter. At night, they stay up late to play with owls. All trees are our everyday friends, except lumberjacks. Aziza's poem, beautiful. Thank you, Aziza. Our next reader is Dylan. Dylan's not here. And this is Dylan's poem, Life to the Air. A tree is a home for chipmunks and squirrels, so they can have a peaceful and happy life. There are small and big trees, but be careful. If there is a storm, they might fall on top of your house. A tree is a playground for birds. It is life to the air. Yeah, Dylan. We're raising tree philosophers in this town. Iman is our next reader. Iman is our next reader. And this is Iman's poem, Climb a Tree. A tree is a nice place for you to read. A palm tree has big palm leaves and coconuts to make juice. You can pick the fruits and eat in the shade. You can climb a tree, sit in its branches, and see the world. The next poem is by a young girl named Ella. Okay. Wait, hold on. Okay.
Deep inside a tree is an underground highway just for me. Too small to sit, too small to see, but a highway that is just for me. It is hard to get to the root of the tree, and if you are blurred flying high, you'll see why. Take a plane to the top of the tree, rent a piece of bark, and take Route 49, and you'll see an amazing highway. It's called a route tree, and it goes down, down, down into the ground. With your piece of bark, you can go down like a shooting star. It is a small flight. You will not go far. If it's a longer flight, you will be flying in. If you're scared, come right back out and take a look, and you're inside a tree.
Thank you, Ella. Our next poem is by Naomi. Naomi's not here. Her father should come up and read this poem. Leroy, Leroy, Leroy. Naomi's father.
I'm not a good parent because I didn't force her to come to do this, but
I'm forcing you.
But I'm being forced to do it as punishment. Apple Tree by Naomi St. Clair. A tree's body reaches up toward the sky, then its branches spread out in all different directions. In spring, a tree explodes with color. The blossoms bloom, and soon the tree will have red apples. The time has come when the tree has all its leaves, and the scent of apple pie fills the air. But soon the scent is gone, and the tree's leaves turn brown, and some fall off the tree. It stays like this for a while. Then with one gust of wind, the tree loses its leaves and is covered with a blanket of snow. It is only comforted by the thought of spring.
Thank you, Leroy. Our next reader is Gwen.
A tree has a strong coat of bark in the winter. The roots of a tree suck up water like a straw. When you hear a snap and a crack, then a big thump, that means a tree has fallen to the ground.
Nice, Gwen. Thank you. And our next reader is Markel. A tree is your best friend. A tree is something you sit beside in the summer, so you will not get bored. That is how you know a tree is your best friend. Trees are awesome. You should not cut them down. Markel. And Jack is our next reader.
This tree's journey. The tree is a redwood, and you may cut down this redwood, but it will have rings of memories. These memories are my tree.
Nice. Thank you, Jack. And our next reader is Kaylin. Not here. Here we go. Kaylin's poem called Tree. A tree can create a new family. It can be a beautiful cherry blossom waiting to bloom. In winter, a tree can be dried bones in a desert. A tree can protect sturdy and neat fairy houses. A tree can even walk into your house and say hello. Yeah. Our next reader is Amari. A tree waiting. A tree is like a house. It is like a big train waiting for people to ride it. A tree is like a book waiting to be read. Amari. Showak.
Colorful as it can. A tree falls on the ground when it needs help. A tree can stick sap on people like it is telling a joke. A pine tree can give you pine cones like they are something you wanted. A tree can reach the birds like it is trying to help them. A tree has leaves like paint, trying to be as colorful as it can.
Thank you, Shomak. And Elliot. You are fast.
Magical tree.
What's that? By Elliot Mercer.
A tree can grow as high as the sky. It can learn how to help the earth. A tree has jobs, giving oxygen and providing homes. It can have children, seeds that grow up with the wind. They will travel until they find a nice place to stay where they can grow, learn, get jobs, and have their own children.
Thank you, Elliot. Nice. And our next reader is Amarige? Amarige. Amarige is not here. What trees can do? Trees can be happy and give people a hug. They create food for use when we need it. Trees feel happy on hot days when children play around them. They can be umbrellas to protect people when it's cold and raining. Trees make music with their branches when the wind comes along. They cry when rain comes on a droopy day. Trees zoom past other trees when a terrible storm comes. They make shelter for bees to have a cozy place to live. Trees are ladders for kids to climb. Yes. Julia.
That's me.
That is you. Come on. Don't get blown away.
A tree is a gift of oxygen. It is a man standing tall. Your house could be part tree. My house too. Everyone's house is part tree. So a tree is a ladder, a giver, a man, a house. But most of all, a tree is a tree.
Yes. And, we're going to take one picture, so don't sit down yet. We're going to all be trees at the end. Sam. Oh, Sam Meyer.
A tree is like a ladder waiting to be climbed. A tree is like a piece of paper waiting to be written on. A tree is like winter. A tree in winter looks like a skeleton dancing in the breeze. A tree is like a pencil waiting to be right. A tree is like a balloon popping when it is happy.
Nice, Sam. Jashani. Jashani. You're kind of nervous here.
When cherry blossom tree. When it is a rainy day, the tree is soaking wet. The cherry blossoms are like the sun on a sunny day. The cherry blossoms are earrings to the tree.
Nice. Thank you.
Iman's here.
Iman,
Yeah, Iman, want to read your poem?
come on up. Okay, we have a new poet who just arrived. Combing the hair. Just in time for the wind. Come on up. Yay! Hi. Want to see your title?
Colors of the earth. Our planet is blue and green and many more colors within. A rose is red and violets are blue. Flowers of all shades and lovely hue. Let's keep it the way it was made, clean, beautiful, and great.
Nice. Thank you. You can stand right back there. And our next reader is Dalton. A Tree and Me. A tree is talking to me and he is walking very fast. The tree jumps with me. We play football and the tree throws the ball. Dalton. McKenna. Trees. This is McKenna's poem. Trees can be homes for many animals. They can sometimes be a litter box for dogs and cats. They wait for people to climb them. They can speak and say, boom, boom. Trees can give you a big hug. So that concludes the poetry. And Jim Vanderbilt, you want a new photo of these kids, and I want them to all come forward, and we're going to reach our arms up and be trees. Hold your books. Come on forward. Come on, Elliot. And let's give a big round of applause for the poets. Arms up into the sky. Be a tree and sway.
Here's an extra branch. I have an extra branch.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, tree poets.